Happy October! This week is going to be Jammy Week, and I'm going to be doing some little pre-recorded videos for you that I think are going to be really fun, and you can use them all year long. This doesn't have to be just for fall, autumn, or Halloween, though I can think of really no better time to make pumpkin pie spice blend, right? So I had this Trader Joe's spice blend, right? And it's empty because I'm using a ton of it on my oats. So one thing we could do is try and actually replicate it. And we would do that a lot by smelling this as we go along. But even if you look at the ingredients, the one that has the most is at the front. So cinnamon, then ginger, then it has lemon peel, which is not a normal pumpkin spice blend ingredient, but you could actually have that in yours by zesting a lemon, dehydrating it, and then putting it in the spice grinder. So that's something we can do. We're not going to do that today because usually I like to pick these up and just see how they smell. I've been using it on my oats every morning with a little bit of brown sugar or maple syrup to make it taste real fall and exciting while it is too warm. So hopefully by the time this video is playing, it will be cold and chilly and I'll be sitting wearing a sweater chatting with you about it. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to start with cinnamon. And I have some other great ingredients too. Ginger powder is another thing we want to add. And as you can see, this ginger powder is one of the Indian brands. Remember, I told you it's much cheaper to buy some of these ingredients at the Indian market or online at Amazon if you want to. So that's one of these. I'm going to use some ground nutmeg, some allspice, and a little bit of cloves. And a little bit of cloves goes a long way. I'll tell you a secret. This is the second time I filmed this video because I made some spice blend and it's too gingery for me. So I'm going to adapt it and fix it, but it got too convoluted to share with you. It was going to confuse you more. So I'm going to show you exactly the best way to build it instead of just making all these assumptions that my ginger tastes X amount, my cloves taste X amount. If you have ginger powder and cloves that are quite fresh, you might be better off starting with half as much in your recipe and then doubling it if it's not enough. Because especially with cloves, it can just make it taste weird too fast because cloves is a very strong, pungent spice. With ginger, if you add too much, it could get spicy. And we all know Cheryl doesn't like spicy. So I want her to be able to enjoy this too. Okay, so let's go ahead and I'm going to put, I have a big bag of cinnamon. So I poured some out in here. I'm going to start with a base of 1/4 cup cinnamon. And then I'm going to do I'm going to start with 1 teaspoon ginger, 1 teaspoon nutmeg, which I expect all this not to be enough. 1 teaspoon of allspice. So 1/4 cup cinnamon, 1 teaspoon ginger, 1 teaspoon nutmeg, 1 teaspoon allspice, and then I put in the first time a 1/2 teaspoon. These cloves are really pretty new and strong. I'm going to start with 1/4 teaspoon. Okay. Then we are going to go ahead and put it in the spice grinder. Even though it's ground, that will help it really incorporate the best. So you could put it in a blender of any kind. I'm just using a spice grinder because that's what I like to do. Okay, now the important part I'm going to taste it, and then we're going to start adapting. If you can let it come down, I don't know if you can see, there's like this little smokiness coming up, which is just everything trying to settle. So let's taste this first. So I'm just going to take a little tiny bit, like this much tiny bit. I'm going to put it on my hand in the palm, and I'm going to taste it. And as I expected, too cinnamony. But I think it has enough cloves. I can taste the cloves just fine. So I'm going to keep the cloves at 1/4 teaspoon. And I always have a notepad so I can write these things down. I think I'm going to add another teaspoon of ginger, another teaspoon of allspice. So it's 2 teaspoons of allspice and ginger. And then with nutmeg, I think I'm going to add another half. And that all goes 1+. All right, now let's try it again. And you can do this with any blend. So let's say if I was trying to exactly replicate this one, I would smell what's on here. And this is definitely darker. I'm using, I don't even know that they have any allspice in here. They don't. And they have some cardamom. And honestly, we could add some cardamom. I do to my pumpkin spice syrup. And let me see. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and add 3 teaspoons, which is a tablespoon, I believe. I think that will make it nicer for me too. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, that smells much nicer to me. Okay, so I'm just going to again take this tiny little bit, put it on my palm. Yes, I think that's really good. So that's what I'm going to go with. And again, it was 1/4 cup cinnamon, a tablespoon of allspice, a tablespoon of ginger, 1½ teaspoons of nutmeg, 1 tablespoon cardamom, and 1/4 teaspoon cloves. And you could leave any of these out or not, as you so desire. So this, what is this good on? This is good to sprinkle on coffee. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it in this little container. You could sprinkle it on oatmeal like I do. Sprinkle it on coffee, like hot coffees on top of your frothed milk. It's just a delightful little spice. It would, just like the pumpkin spice syrup, it would also be good on like apple crumble, baked apples. You could even toss some cut up apples in this and then bake them. And I find that the cinnamon and these spices are very sweet, so you can get away with using much less sugar. So hopefully, if you didn't already have pumpkin spice blend, you do now. And so enjoy it, and be sure to tell me what you're using it on so we can all get new ideas.